Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by Sadie Sink, who gives a standout performance in The Whale opposite Brendan Fraser. Sadie, congratulations on this performance. I wanted to start talking about Ellie as a character. She has, I would say, a real justifiable anger, and her response is to lash out and hurt people with her words and actions. I was struck, though, that you never, as an audience, I felt like I never lost sight of her humanity, and I was really able to empathize with her throughout. So I guess, can you talk about like towing that line where you have this character who is obviously so hurt and doing these things that are probably not great, but then also like, you really kind of feel for her. And I guess, how'd you strike that balance with your performance?
Um, yeah, I mean, that was like the fun challenge, I guess. I think this week that we spend with Ellie, like in the film, with when she's reconnecting with her father, it's the most confusing time of her life, really. And Charlie's able to see a very hurt, very lost little girl who's very angry with her father for good reason. Um, and he's also just able to kind of like really break her armor a little bit. So with Ellie, it's kind of this constant fight. When any kind of vulnerability seeps through, whenever Charlie tells her how amazing she is, how intelligent she is, her like coping mechanism with all of that is to just lash out. So which could, be a little frustrating at times because you just want her to open up and give her father, show him some love. But it's like a battle. It's a battle between her and Charlie, and a battle between Ellie and just all of her preconceived notions about this man. And yeah, it was fun to kind of find those moments where, like I said, the armor cracks a little bit and then she's got to like mend it back up again. It was a fun little game, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, you're right. Like, it's so much of it where you like see her just breaking a little bit and then you have to like pull it back. When like, how did you approach that? Like, I'd like to prep for it. I mean, are you like, I know you guys obviously you did like some rehearsals and stuff, but like, how did you kind of like think about your performance and how you wanted to make that feel so authentic? I guess I just found the whole thing like real. It really comes through as like real. And I think that's not an easy thing to do, because you could imagine being so self-conscious of like, oh, I have to break here, but then bring it back. So like, how'd you kind of like modulate that?
I mean, I guess that's like why I love acting so much, because you just like, for this, especially when the writing is this good, when you're with someone like Brendan, when it's in the hands of someone like Darren, you're just fully able to like take yourself out of it. And so for all those little moments, it's just kind of, I don't know, the wheels turning in Ellie's head, less of mine,
Right.
not a methody kind of way, but it's just, she's an observer. So it was fun to kind of, I don't know, sit with that for a bit.
Yeah, you mentioned Brendan. Obviously, the both of you have gotten these incredible reviews and so far, and I think your performances are really wonderful. And Brendan in interviews constantly is like how he gives you props as like you went home with a game ball. I've seen him say that like a bunch about you, like in the scenes. But can you talk about like, I guess I know, and I think you guys you did the reading together first, like before it was like you were cast or anything. I guess, can you talk about how you guys worked together and kind of maybe pushed each other, or how that relationship played out? Because I think obviously it's so foundational to the movie. But yeah, I'd love to like, how did you guys kind of collaborate?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of like, there was something weird that just like clicked when we did that first table read. And I didn't even know what this character was, what the project was, what I was doing. But we just sat down and did a pretty much cold reading of The Whale. And I was next to Brendan, and we read as Charlie and Ellie for the first time. And I just remember leaving there and being like, man, I really hope I get to work with him. I really hope we get to make this happen. Because even if it was just a cold reading, there was still like, I just think we all felt like there was so much potential there. And then once rehearsal started, like working with Brendan, kind of blocking things out and really like, getting into these characters, we just had a lot of trust in each other. And I think if during the filming, it was all very focused, and I think that was obviously for good reason. But yeah, I think if it had been too light on set and you're joking around and you're hanging out in between takes or on off days, like it would be hard to like be as authentic as possible when, doing this kind of scene work and, portraying these kinds of relationships. Um, but throughout the whole thing, like, I mean, he's really an important part of my life, and to have him by my side throughout all this and to see him be just like received in this way, it's been really incredible. And something I was like, his performance, like I saw what was happening on set. So this reaction to it, I mean, I fully anticipated it because I saw
Right.
it every day.
Yeah, you had a front row to this, isn't
Yeah.
it? Right? Yeah, that's pretty cool. You mentioned like Darren Aronofsky. I mean, like he's like definitely one of my favorite filmmakers, and he has a history of getting like amazing performances from actresses, like from Jennifer Connelly and Jennifer Lawrence and Marissa Tomei and Evan Rachel Wood. I guess like what was it like for you? Like, I guess what surprised you about working with him, or how did you find him as a director of actors? Clearly, he has a great way with actors based on these other films that he's done and like the performances he gets. But I guess like for you, what was that experience like?
I didn't really know what to expect. I was a huge fan of his films beforehand. And I had no idea what it was going to be like working with him. But oh my God, like it was, I never really had a relationship with like a director that way, where it's just, it, he sees everything. And for all of the actors, like he sees every little expression, every tiny little something. If if you make a certain look or you do something different in a take, he'll like want to tap into that more and try another take, leaning more into it, just like little tiny details and stuff like that. He pays so much attention to it. Um, and he really knew all of these characters really well. And it was really fun, especially with Ellie. I think there were times where you could kind of really go two ways with her. So we try some takes where it was like pure evil, and then others with like a little bit more empathy, and some in between. So it was cool for me to see the finished product, because honestly, like I was like, oh, well, what moments is she going to be really evil? Like, what moments is he going to use? But I think ultimately he chose the right cut for sure.
Yeah, he's it's really good. You also have a great Ty Simpkins, I think, is a great scene partner for you as well. Like he and those scenes are really, I mean, it's like I there is like a not fun, but it's like there is a sense of humor to those scenes, I think, and like you are really those are very charged and like amusing. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like it's not a movie that you're like it's not a comedy, but like there are fun in those scenes.
Yeah,
I
and
guess. Yeah, go ahead. No.
that was like one of my favorite scenes to film, just because when you're in a scene with Ellie and Charlie, like their dynamic is it's such a tortured, like it's just its own thing. And with Ellie and Thomas, like that's when you really get to see what Ellie is like with like anyone, with her peers, what she's like in the wild, I guess. And it's crazy. And you see it in the writing. And I was so excited to work on this because I mean, she's just a master manipulator. She knows exactly what to say at exactly what pace, and all just kind of searching for like honesty. Like she wants to get down to the bottom of who he really is. And Ty was like the perfect scene partner for that, and just like really was able to kind of like keep up with the energy and Ellie's like manic statements and whatever. But yeah, that was like one of my favorite scenes,
Yeah,
because
they're
yeah.
really great. You push his buttons. Ellie pushes buttons so well. It's like really fun. I was reading. I think you did an interview backstage. You talked about how I guess you shot The Whale first and then went to Stranger Things for season 4. And you got such great responses for Stranger Things 4. I mean, like the reviews for that performance were like off the charts. And I guess I wanted to ask you then, how did like clearly this was The Whale is such a amazing performance, and I feel like really transformative. Like, what did you learn from this that you obviously took to maybe Stranger Things and like beyond? Like, how do you feel like as an actor you've kind of just grown out from this movie? Because I think like the work that you did in Stranger Things was incredible also. So I guess like how did you feel like this is like a launch point for like what you're doing next?
I mean, I think like working on The Whale, it just like really made me comfortable in front of the camera. And I don't think I had fully reached that before I did it, to be honest. Especially kind of like being a child actor too. I really grew up just thinking like, you come prepared, you stand on your mark, and you take direction well. And for a while I was like, that's what acting is. Like just kind of like, when you're younger, like no one's expecting an 11-year-old to just like make all these like crazy choices and be like a collaborator. So that's not the space that I was like coming from. But as you get older, you get more comfortable, and if something doesn't feel right in a scene, you can say it. If you want to try something different, then you can try it. And I think through The Whale, like that it really helped me get to that point. And, going on to Stranger Things after that, I think, I don't know, it just felt like I had kind of shaken some like child actor habits that maybe I had. Um, and just felt more comfortable. And the more comfortable you feel in front of a camera, that's, when you can be the most vulnerable. And so I'm really happy that that I kind of, had that growth.
Yeah, and we have to wrap up here, but I guess I want to ask, like I said, like that performance was so praised. The Whale, I think you've gotten incredible praise for. I like Winona Ryder, I think compared you to Meryl Streep. Like, how do you you're obviously a young actor, and like you said, you've been acting for a while as a child actor as well. But how do you kind of contextualize and take in that kind of feedback, I guess? And I'm sure it's got to be a little overwhelming, but I mean, how do you feel about it? Like when you're hearing those things and clearly the response to the work is there, and getting even stronger. So I guess, how do you feel about all of that?
I mean, it's a great feeling, but I just love acting. I really just love acting. And so to be able to be doing projects where I just feel as fulfilled as I feel right now, and to be allowed the chance to, do more projects and just kind of continue to do this, it's a really good feeling. And as overwhelming as things can get sometimes, at the end of the day, I don't know, it sounds cheesy, but this is just I love to do this. So I don't know. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's cool. And I think I think the passion for acting comes through in your work, I guess, because even it just is great. And the proof is in The Whale and Stranger Things as well. Sadie Sink, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.